When I was in art school, we didn't have any strobe classes or even lighting classes. But what I did have was art history. And one of the things that struck me as we were going through art history, when we came to the Renaissance and the Baroque time period, I was really drawn by the way that the painters started modeling light. And of course, Rembrandt was one of those painters that began to take the light and do a cross light and actually shape the face. So that struck me at that time as a time period that I was drawn to, that cross light. So after I graduated from college, I had a little bit of experience assisting, but still I didn't understand how light worked and I was really kind of confused by things. But the first thing I did was I took a rectangular softbox and I began to try to emulate the Rembrandt cross light look. Really, that's how I started out, was with the Rembrandt cross light. I kind of mastered that, spent 20-something years doing that. And then about 4 or 5 years ago, I was shooting a lot of large format, testimonial, ad, portrait stuff, and my look that I was doing at the time sort of ran its course. And in the marketplace, it's hard to stay current, or at least it's important to stay current. And at that point, I sat down and said, where can I go from here? And that's when I brought in a subject and did my first 3 edgy light kind of approach. And even then, I still didn't understand a lot of things about lighting. And I began that process over the last 4 years of really sort of formulating what I know today. And it's because I've really mixed it up. From the 3 light approach, which I used small square or rectangular boxes and a beauty dish, to moving into some bigger modifiers, bigger boxes, bigger octa boxes. And now today I have, a number of lighting sort of techniques that I can pull when a client asks me to do a certain job, that I have the ability to sort of mix it up. And it's really given me a greater depth in my the ability to create an income. A couple weeks ago, I was flipping through, I don't get a chance to surf the web that much, but I came across a photographer's work, and I can't remember who it was, but there was a shot that this photographer did, and I saw the light was very, very narrowly just lit in the face. And I thought, well, I wonder how this photographer did that. No behind the scenes stuff that was available. And so I immediately brought in a subject, began to experiment, and I first thought it was by taking 2 pieces of foam core and shooting the light through the foam core and creating that little bit of a light down the strip. Well, immediately I realized that wasn't working. And so what I did is I took a 10-degree grid and put it on my little reflector, which is the standard reflector for my strobes, took my black gaffer's tape and made just a little slit. And I was able to put this about maybe 1.5 feet from the subject and created a light that I had never done before, that I was able to create some really fun portraits. And so that's the fun thing about this mystery of lighting, is that I'm always learning and experimenting and doing new things. And I am inspired by other photographers' work. And so, but this is simple here. 1 grid, some tape, and create a new look that did not exist, that I didn't have before in my arsenal of options to bring to the table. All right, we have to admit that lighting is a mystery, and it takes a little bit to sort through all the different sort of modifiers and strobes and all these things that we have today at our fingertips. If we look at good images, and we can see imagery that we love, we're drawn to it. If you learn the basics of lighting, or once we get through and sort of discovering what these modifiers do, you can reach any look that you want. You can achieve anything you want. And so what I've sort of been doing the last couple of years, and I love to do, is take the mystery out of lighting and get people to sort of get a sense of what this whole mystery is about. And so the number one thing that I like to start, where I like to start in building the foundation, and that is You are unique, and there's no one on the planet just like you. This is what makes us artists. We all have different types of music that we like. No one's the same. There's probably no iPod on the planet that's the same. And so it's the same with imagery. There are images that you're drawn to. My, I guess you would say, encouragement is to shoot images that you love and that you are drawn to as an artist. Because you can have all the techniques in the world, you can have it all mastered, and really produce nothing of value. And so you have to have something that you're driven to, something that you are passionate about and achieve and do over and over again. And eventually you develop imagery that fits you as a person and as an artist. So that's the beginning, I think, is that think like an artist. Think about it as lighting and photography in general is a creative process. The number one rule of thumb when it comes to choosing modifiers is that the larger your source, so if you have, let's say, a small softbox versus a large softbox, okay? The size of the source and the distance it is from your subject determines the either softness or the hardness or edginess of the quality of light. And so I have a saying, the bigger the source in relationship to the subject, the softer the light. The other thing too is you've got a lot of different shapes. You can get a very similar quality of light from a rectangular or square softbox as you would a rounded octabox. So really, if you understand that it's not the shape of the modifier that's most important, it's how big it is or how small it is in relationship to your subject that really plays the most important role in the quality of light in your final image. So from here, let's go to strobe options. The speed lights are a great option, except they don't put out a lot of power. But speed lights are a great way to go if you are using sport action, and we're going to do a sport scenario down the road where we're going to freeze an athlete in motion. You really need a thyristor, or say a system that is designed for high-speed flash duration. And the other option is to shoot with continuous light sources. And we're actually filming right now with the Westcott spider lights, and they're a really fairly inexpensive way to get great quality, soft, continuous light. In fact, we don't even have modifiers on these spider lights, and they're just being shot straight because of the way they're designed. But here's the reason why I would use a continuous light source for still photography. And that is, I do HDR portraits. And we're going to do that for you in one of the scenarios that is coming up. And with the Westcott spider lights, you can actually put those in modifiers and do my kind of this 3-edge lighting that I do for my sports stuff and do an HDR scenario. So it's kind of fun. So really, that's kind of the options that are on the market today. Again, it might be a little confusing, but go back to this. Look at imagery that you love. Find out what direction that you want to go in and where you want to end up. And getting there is not that complicated. So allow your mind, your intuition to be your guide, and take what you have. If it's one modifier, one strobe, one camera, one lens, go out and create images. A technical instrument can never make a creative decision for you. That's reserved for the human mind. And so we're going to go on a journey. I'm going to show you hopefully all these techniques that I have, and in the process, I'm sure I will get a chance to even learn more as I have to explain this stuff. But it is a lot of fun, and to be able to take the mystery out of lighting. So looking forward to this next couple weeks as we explore this whole process.
Special thanks to FJ Westcott for keeping this episode lit up. Like the music? Special thanks to Triple Scoop Music. Frame Network giveaways are brought to you by B&H. Head to giveaways.framenetwork.com for your chance to win. Find out more about the equipment used in this episode on framenetwork.com.